What's up, guys? This is Miguel, and this is Middle Theory. This is vlog number 2. And this week I was reminded really an amazing lesson, a lesson on actually asking for help. See, in the midst of trying to push really, really hard this week, I had a bunch of setbacks. And one of those setbacks was I needed to replace the water pump and the thermostat on my van. Now, big secret, I'm gonna let it out right now. I'm horrible at mechanical work. I've done it in the past, like when I was in college, because I had no money and I had to. But like along my adult life, there was a point where my wife was just like, please just take it to someone, because you're gonna spend the whole day cussing, you're gonna get mad, and it's gonna take you like 17 hours when it would take someone else like 2 hours. So that's kind of the reality of my mechanical genius. But here I was gonna make it happen. We're at a place right now where I can't take it in to go get it fixed somewhere, so I had to figure it out myself. So I go and buy the parts. I'm doing good. I went to O'Reilly's, got the parts, felt cool, got all the things like antifreeze and all that kind of stuff. I'm feeling good. Honestly, I wasn't feeling good because I knew this was gonna be a real shit storm. And set the night aside, went to a friend of mine's shop who has a shop with a bunch of tools. He wasn't there, he was out of town, but I pull the van up and get ready. I actually open up my phone and I'm trying to get a YouTube video on how to fix the water pump. And I'm starting to feel a little more insecure at this point. It's already evening and I'm thinking maybe I could get home by midnight, and I don't know, I'm starting to feel a little rough about it. But all of a sudden, I hear this noise in the background, hear a four-wheeler pull up, and one of the neighbors there, also a friend of mine, a guy named Richard, he pulls up. He's like, "What you doing, man?" I was like, "I'm gonna change the water pump." He's like, "Really? Really, how's that going for you?" And I try to show him the YouTube video that I'm desperately trying to pull up, but I don't even have good reception where I'm at. And he's like, "Huh, okay, all right, so where's the water pump?" is what he asked me. And I go over to the van and kind of motion to the left side of the engine. I was like, "The water pump," I say confidently, "the water pump's right over here." And he just starts laughing. He's like, no, it's not. It's actually over here. And he's pointing to the front of the car. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this isn't going well. And he looks at me, he goes, "Do you know the band Lit? Have you heard their song In Over Your Head?" And I'm thinking at that moment, that song's definitely highlighting the situation I'm in. And so we keep talking, and finally he just shakes his head and he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna go get my tools, I'm gonna help out." And so what I forgot was Richard is a brilliant mechanic. He's even ran mechanic shops in the past, overseeing technicians. That's one thing he does even currently right now. And luckily he carved out the rest of his night to help me, because watching him dig into that engine, I realized it wouldn't have been midnight. I would have been sitting there at 6 a.m. feeling probably defeated, maybe barely all got it back together, made a huge mess, probably busted up my hands and all sorts of craziness. But instead, he did it in a masterful way. And he just kept shaking his head. He's like, "Why didn't you ask me? You should have just asked me. Why didn't you ask me?" And finally, I just looked at him. I was like, man, I was at a place where I could pay for other people to fix these things, and frankly, we're not there right now. Had some setbacks over the last year, and I'm embarrassed by it. So I didn't want to ask for help, and I think it's my problem. So why would I want to burden someone else with that? And he just shook his head. He's like, "Listen, man, I can't sing. I can't do the things you do, but I'm really good at this. Why don't you let me do this for you?" And man, we had a blast. We drank IPAs, which I haven't been an IPA fan, but he's getting me into IPAs now. Drank whiskey and fixed a water pump, got my van going again. And I say we fixed it. Really what I did was I held a flashlight for him while he put all the parts together. But we had a good time just hanging out, and I got done. I was able to be home by 10:30 that night instead of, staying up all the way till 6 a.m. in the morning, barely trying to fix it. And he actually fixed it well. In fact, there was things he was doing that I wasn't prepared for. I was like, "What was that?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm putting silicone on this, blah, blah, blah," all the details. But yeah, it was the reminder for me that I need to ask for help. I need to ask other people who have strengths in other areas for help. in anything I'm doing, whether it's in life, whether it's in this business. And so it highlighted for me to remind me to build a team. Even though this is a solo project, the reality is there is a team that's happening behind the scenes. We got Trey, who's doing all the video. So it reminded me I need to invest in him and help him get what he needs, because he's helping this move further along as quick as it can. And then also had a great meeting with some other agents that I'm working with this past week, and it reminded me how important they are. It reminded me that I can't be prideful, because yeah, maybe I can do things, I can figure things out, but the reality is I'm only good at a few things. So I need to focus on that and resource those around me to do what they're good at. And yeah, I really appreciated that lesson, and honestly really appreciated what Richard did to me, because it made my life much better that night, and really probably the next day or next 2 days of trying to recover from and really keeping me from blowing my van up, because I probably would have blown it up like 2 or 3 days later. I've been like driving, yeah, I did that, I stayed up all night, fixed it, I'm driving, and the engine would just fucking blow up. But yeah, so that was kind of the big lesson of the week for me. Beyond that, I kind of felt like a lot of the week from a business perspective was a failure at first. I had a lot of plans, and those plans did not go as I laid out. And I spent half of the week just being frustrated. I know last week I talked about enjoying the process. This was a week where I really struggled to enjoy the process, but I was not getting to things that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a big push into booking, all those kind of things. But instead, I realized I didn't have systems in place. And so this past week, I ended up putting together systems for how we're going to do follow-up on booking, systems to how I can connect with the agents that I'm working with and working through, and figuring out what they need from me so they can be successful. I realized I needed to put systems in place even for our family, because as the solo project launches out, I'm looking to touring again with 4 kids and being married, and my wife runs her own business. Her and I were talking, we're like, oh, we need to fix some systems in our house so our house runs smoother, so that as things get more intense, our lives don't. So that as things get more intense, we can actually still enjoy the process. So yeah, that was frustrating for me, but as I was reflecting this morning, I was sitting in the coffee shop reflecting on the past week and the things I learned. I realized it really was a productive week. It just wasn't productive in the way I was hoping. But now the systems are starting to get laid in. I'll spend the rest of the weekend putting a lot of that together. For example, like, this is how we will book. This is how follow-up will look like, step by step. So each time it's consistent. Each time I know I've reached out to the right people, or I've contacted the right agents, whatever it is. Or for example, another system of when the show is booked. This is how we're going to log it on the calendar. This is how it's going to be logged on Bands in Town. This is how we're going to promote, creating a promotion system so that every show gets promoted in the same way, and within their caveats, because there's certain venues that only can promote a certain way and it might not fit into it. And so then how do we adjust? Creating systems so that happens consistently, because frankly, when this thing keeps moving forward and keeps getting bigger, it's going to be harder to keep up if those systems aren't in place. So I'm actually pretty excited. So now as more gigs start rolling in, booked a house show this past week, which will be really fun. I'm looking forward to doing more and more house shows. Booked a So Far show. I'm going to have an announcement for that too. Got another really cool announcement coming up, but I can't even another cool announcement. It's coming up. I'm going to be pushing it out there for you guys. But yeah, so as I've planned for the upcoming week, I'm finally going to be able to get to the booking. Ideally, it looks like the systems are starting to get in place. And of course, as the systems go, as we try them out, we'll tweak them. It's not set in stone. It's really just a guide, and we'll find out what works and what doesn't. For example, this past week with Trey, we created systems for the video, how each time all the videos are to be done, so that we know all the details happen. And even as we were doing that, he was saying, hey, I think we need to move this here. This is in the wrong place in the process, and we missed this. And so we're adjusting as we go. But this week, looking forward to a big push in booking. And yeah, really just in family, looking forward to putting some more systems in place so that our family can run smooth and we can enjoy life and really enjoy the last week before all the kids go back to school, which I think they're actually even ready to go back to school. And yeah, so that's the big push. Booking more shows. If you're watching this and you're interested, booking for colleges, booking for clubs, I'm booking for house shows, booking for so far, all those things. Let me know if you're interested. Just email me, booking@middletheorymusic.com, booking@middletheorymusic.com. And yeah, thanks for watching the vlog. I'm going to keep doing these things, giving you updates on what's happening in business and in life behind the scenes, because there's a whole lot going on. You guys have a great day.